And I will turn it over.
Hello, neighbors. How y'all doing? Welcome to the Wednesday, January 19th Municipal Advisory Council meeting. 6 p.m. start time, 2022. I'm going to start with our flag salute.
Oh, let me do the roll call, please.
Oh, go ahead.
Sure. We will go Wendy Zimmerman.
Here.
Edward Villa.
Here.
Richard Gaz.
Here.
And Chair Horn.
Here.
Are you sure?
Are you sure?
And their student rep?
Oh, and Ashley Nyer. I'm so sorry, Ashley. Yes, Ashley Nyer, our student rep.
I'm here.
Wonderful.
There she is.
Okay.
Well, then we'll proceed to the flag salute. Would you all stand and join me in the flag salute? Ready, begin. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
one
one
nation,
nation, under God,
indivisible,
liberty and justice for all.
That's next.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us here. The first order of business on our meeting for the first meeting of 2022 is to select our chair and vice chair.
I would like to, if I could, I would like to nominate Scott to stay as the MAC chair for this coming year.
Actually, I would really like to see you take over and do your 2 years as we have rotated every 2 years, Ed.
Really,
think it
I
would be
would
good.
take it, but I can't. I'm going through some issues right now and may not make most of the meetings this year. So
I'm
I have
sorry
to
to hear
turn
that.
that down.
Well, and Wendy's point is well taken that we've sort of rotated the meeting there, but I would volunteer to do that again with the idea that, yes, you'll get back into the rotation there.
I will eventually.
Are you sure about that? Are you sure about that, Ed?
Yes, I am positively sure about this. Other than that, I would graciously accept it, but I cannot give my time this year to the chair that it warrants.
I understand that, and sorry to hear that that's the case very much. I would really like to see us kind of continue some version of rotation. And Scott, I certainly appreciate your enthusiasm and your passion for the MAC. But I think in light of some of your community work, I think it might be better if one of the others of us takes over chair to give you a better means of pursuing some of the things that are really important to you right now.
That's fine. I've done my 2 years, so if someone wants to chair the committee, that's all good with me.
So Richard, I think that leaves you and me.
I
I had followed you, but if you don't want to take it, I will go ahead and take it. We can always revisit the issue here. Maybe Ed will be better and ready to pop back in.
Can I make a nomination?
Yes.
I make a nomination that Wendy Zimmerman be our chair for the next year.
I'll second it.
Okay. I will do a roll call. That would be Richard Gaz.
Affirmative.
Edward Villa.
Yes.
Wendy Zimmerman.
Yes.
And Scott Horn.
Yes.
Okay. And vice chair would be next.
Ed, you'd still be the man in line for that.
Yeah, if it's okay, I will hold on to the vice chair.
I'm good with that.
So are you making the motion?
I
Scott?
nominate that Ed Villa continue as vice chair.
I'll
And I will
second.
second. There we go.
I'm sorry, who seconded?
I think Richard was
Richard did.
first.
Okay, let me do a, okay, Richard Gaz. I'm doing the roll call.
Yes.
Okay. Edward Villa,
Yes.
Scott Horn,
Yes.
and Chair Zimmerman.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Scott, for your chairship for the past 2 years through the pandemic.
Yes. Thank you, Scott. I really do appreciate your passion, but you know, I think everybody deserves a little break now.
Oh, absolutely.
There's a lot going on out there, so. All right. Agenda review. Yes,
Okay, so that would be, there we go.
Does anybody have any changes that we need to make courtesy of having speakers or other subjects to the order in which we go through our agenda?
I have an item.
Go ahead.
I'd like to move the graffiti removal intervention team report up to and during the public safety report so we can discuss recent graffiti.
Ed, that's been your department. Are you okay with that?
I'll second it.
Okay, then it will go become item 6 in between 6 and 7 for graffiti removal.
Check.
All right, pencil, come on. All right. Any other changes?
I'd like to ask about parking restrictions on Wendy at Kimber Park.
Brett, you can make that comment and ask about that during public comment.
Public comments, please.
Denise, would you please help me remember to make sure we call on him during public comments?
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, agenda is reviewed. Next item, approval of the minutes from November 17th, 2021. Does anybody have any changes?
Motion, we accept the meetings at the meeting draft minutes as official minutes.
I'll second it.
Richard, second.
Okay,
Okay, I'll do a roll call.
roll call, thank you.
I'll do Richard Gaz,
Yes.
Scott Horn,
Yes.
Ed Via,
Yes.
Chair Zimmerman.
Yes. Okay, public. All right, public safety reports.
We have to approve the minutes.
So we approved the minutes.
Yes.
We did.
Just did that.
Okay.
So item 6 is public safety reports. I have CHP and Sheriff's Department. Officer Keith.
Bo is up there at the top. Or I don't know where he is on
If you
yours.
want to.
Good evening.
Would like to go first.
There he is.
Oh, yeah,
Unmute, please. Thank you.
CHP or Sheriff's Department?
Officer Key can go first. That's fine.
Okay, Officer Keith, please.
All right. Well, good evening to everybody. It's been a couple MAC meetings. I've missed everybody. I had some training over the last couple months, and thank God it's over with. Hopefully this new year's been safe and healthy for you. I know that our department's been hit pretty hard by COVID, and there was some challenging times over the last couple weeks to just get minimum staffing, but we're getting through it. As far as the just the area with collisions, there was just a couple minor crashes in the general area that were non-injury. One was on Wendy Drive near Michael, and another one on Teresa. I don't really have anything else other than just some safety messages. We did deploy the radar trailer on Wendy and Gerald between the 9th of November to the 29th, just to reduce speed violations in the area. But just as a reminder that the Moore Park office that we do child seat installations on a weekly basis. We do VIN appointments where if you need to register your vehicle, and we can accomplish that for you and help you through that process. And we also offer Start Smart classes on a regular basis, which teaches the young drivers of the safety out on the road and to help them as new drivers. And, you know, if you're ever disabled on the freeway, just some tips to remember to take into consideration. If you have a flat, try to drive off the freeway and get to a place of safety. If you have to stay on the freeway, pull over to the right shoulder as far over as you can and turn on your hazard lights. And unfortunately, if you have to drive into the center median, that's one of the worst places a motorist can go. And we recommend that you just stay in your vehicle, call us, and we'll help you to get out of that situation. And then when all else fails and you just feel that it's unsafe, call 911. That way the highway patrol can come out and help you. And we obviously want you to get through that situation as safely as possible. It is very dangerous on the side of the road, as you all can be aware of, with all the passing traffic. And we just want to do our best to provide safety to everybody. And then as a reminder too, we have a freeway service patrol that will help you between the hours of 6 and 9 in the morning and at 3 to 7 o'clock in the evening. And they're a good resource for you to get you help off the freeway. They'll actually get you off the freeway free of charge so that you can make arrangements to get wherever you got to go. Other than that, if there's any traffic complaints in the area, please let me know and we can do our best to address those issues.
I'm good. Any council members have comments or questions?
No comment.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Bo.
Good evening. Just some statistics, numbers. I ran the numbers last time from September to and October. This one I did from November and December. The majority of our incidents we've had, again, there was a big uptick in the catalytic converter thefts. I think we had 8 the 2 months before, and now this last couple months we've had, the number says 33 of them. So we've had an uptick of those. The only thing I could suggest for those, again, if you hear anything unusual at night, and also if we could pass on, I know that there are certain body shops in town that are offering plates that you can install on the bottom of your car to block the people from being able to get to your catalytic converters. And those range in prices, I think, anywhere from like $300 to $500, depending on what kind of car you have and what you're looking at. But looking at the alternatives, it can run up to $1,000 to replace your catalytic converter. So you kind of have to do the math and that kind of stuff. We had some window smashes in vehicles, but in December, we did make an arrest of a few people, and we tied most of those into the window smashes. But the other thefts, again, most of them have come from people just leaving their cars unlocked and leaving things inside your car. We have crews that come up from the LA County area and they just walk through neighborhoods. So we are doing extra patrol and trying to be as visible as possible to get out there. We've also, as far as any sort of burglaries, residentials and commercial, those numbers unfortunately have stayed about the same, like around 8 or so for the residential burglaries, and then the commercial burglaries stayed about the same. Around last 2 months was 15. The past I'm sorry, November, December have been 14, so it's been just a small decrease. We also made arrests on some commercial burglaries. One of our deputies came across a car that was sitting in a parking lot late at night for no reason, so he contacted them, and it turned out that they were our burglars that we've been looking for. So that was a good, and so we tied a couple of the commercial burglaries on together on that to their arrests. And I think they're still working with other agencies, LA County, LAPD and stuff like that, to see if it can't put together some of the cases on those guys. Outside of that, I don't have any additional information. If there's any questions.
I believe some of the auto shops were painting your license number or some kind of identification on your converter for free. Are they still doing that?
Yeah, they're doing what they're called the etch and catch. So yes, they are spray painting our logo. It's our star on it, and also they'll engrave your license plate number on your catalytic converter also.
Great, good to know, because that's a lot cheaper than the other plate that keeps
Yes.
them from taking it. It means it doesn't do them any good to swipe it and they know who it belongs.
Yeah. So hopefully, we're doing the best we can, trying to figure out, the best course of action to try to stop this. But unfortunately, it's, as Lieutenant Key could probably attest to, this is something that is statewide, nationwide, and not mutually exclusive to our little Ventura County here.
Yep, the price of metal.
Yes.
Anybody have any questions or comments?
Yes, I have a question for him is what is in the area that's been hit the hardest on the catalytic converter caper? Is it in Newbury Park? What is it? Where's the areas getting hit the hardest? Do you know? Or is it all over?
It's pretty much all over, but let me see if I can't look at it real quickly here. Yeah, it's pretty even. There's no specific area.
So the Casa Conejo is still
Yes.
getting hit also then?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Thank-
Thank you, Mr. Vo, for your report.
Wendy,
ma'am.
you also have Commander Hoagland from the CHP.
I'm sorry, Ms. Hoagland.
Oh, no,
ahead.
no worries. Good evening, everyone. I don't have really anything new to report. We are still working on getting the bids. Caltrans is working on getting bids for the construction on the southbound and northbound 101 scales that I was talking about last time. We have had contractors coming by, taking photos and measurements. So that's a good sign that their bids in for Caltrans to make a final determination. Last time I talked to Caltrans, it's still March that they will start with the southbound side. Again, that'll take about a month and a half to 2 months, all off the freeway, all inside the scale facility where they're replacing pavement. So it really should not affect traffic coming up and down, other than the trucks won't be stopping in southbound while it's closed. And then once they're finished with southbound, again, 2 months later, we're looking at about May, then it'll be northbound that will be shut down to truck traffic as they do the construction there. My invitation is still open as to if you have unincorporated areas that you see truck traffic. While we're down here at the scales, I'd like to send strike forces out with my personnel to various locations where maybe you see commercial traffic that should or should not be there. And we can do some inspections at safe locations there. So just keep that in mind. If you have ideas, let us know, and we'll make it a point later, mid to later this year, to get out there while our staffing allows us to do those types of strike forces.
Okay. Thank you very much. Any questions? I would like to ask those of you who are visiting and are not on the council to, I don't know whether Denise can mute you, but
Yeah.
let's keep you all muted until it's you're called upon to talk, please, because we're getting extra noise here and there.
Right.
This is my first time attending a Zoom MAC meeting, and I'm really happy to be part of this tonight.
Okay, thank you. We're gonna mute you. I think Denise has the ability to
Yes.
check in the hands and things and make
I
sure
know.
that when we have public comment, all the public comment folks get called upon, and that, you know, we make sure that everybody gets their turn as is appropriate. And we try to talk one at a time so we can hear, because I know I have some lag time going on my computer. When this meeting started, it was really hitting kind of hard, but it seems to be a little bit better now. So if that concludes that, I believe we changed agenda to cover graffiti.
Right. Well, for the report is that just recently on Jenny Bridge, Jenny Drive, the bridge there was some graffiti there that was removed, not only on the metal railing, but also on the bridge overpass. I also found some on the Gerald Drive. It appears there's just these kids going back to school and are writing their names on there. So I don't see any correlation between a gang or any of that nature. So, but as of this time, all the graffiti has been removed.
Okay, I saw one small piece on the Wendy Bridge. I think it was on the west side, but you may
It's
have
gone.
already picked that up.
It's gone.
Great.
Yeah, there was at that same point there, I thought I saw some on the, like one of the metal electrical boxes as well.
That
At
was
the end of last
at
year.
Orchard Park.
Yeah. Oh, no,
That's
the Wendy Bridge I'm talking about. I thought I saw it on
Wendy
the,
Bridge?
on an electrical box that was there at the end of last year.
I didn't see any out there.
Okay, well,
I'll take a look. I'll take a look and see. Because I took a whole bunch off of it last week.
Nice. There was another bit of tagging that happened close to where we have our meetings and was taken off as well. We submitted photographs to the CHP and the sheriff's office, and it did not register as being any of the current signs. So it was thought that it was juveniles on a dare type of a thing, and removed. But I do have a report from my postal carrier that the Borchard bathrooms have been graffitied up a bunch lately, and in fact, CRPD had to close them down. And this is 2 weeks ago, essentially. So I'd like to relay that to Officer Vo, that there was reported graffiti in the bathrooms there, and perhaps a conversation with CRPD would be in order.
Cool. That's it for the graffiti removal for Casa Conejo.
Okay.
Sorry, did you need to, sorry, did you need Officer Vo unmuted?
No.
Well, I just wanted to just make sure that he heard that there was something to look at in Borchard Park's bathrooms.
Yeah.
Yes, I took a note of it, and I'll double check and follow up with the gang guys and stuff like that to see, and then I'll see what information was passed along to warrant the locking of the bathrooms.
And the other thing is let the front office at the park know about it, and then they can handle it. I know at one point, because a lot of the bathrooms were having graffiti issues, they changed like the materials for the doors and things in the restrooms so that they were less likely to be scribbled over.
Yeah, I know a couple months ago, there was a TikTok challenge to, for some reason, destroy bathrooms. And so that went on for about a month, and every month they changed TikTok challenges, so.
Yeah, a friend of mine
Figure, huh?
at a private school, and the kids just really trashed a lot of school property to the tune of thousands of dollars of damages.
Yes, they did.
Okay.
Keep the kids.
All right, we're ready for that. Comments of Supervisor Parks, please.
All right. Well, good hearing our public safety folks, and let's make sure you can hear me. You can hear me. And I just wanted to let you know it's the Transportation Commission, which you have been connecting with on freeway widening issues, is the one that approved the emergency vehicle assistance on the highways. So it's nice to see that it's working, and it's intended to make sure to avoid congestion and get people out as quickly as possible. And really good advice from our CHP to what happens if you get a flat tire. To, first of all, get off the freeway if you can, right? And then move over as far as you can with your blinkers. So anyway, it's nice to see that we have the funds available to provide that service. A few things happening in our area. I know everybody is aware of the trash hauling service changes that are happening in the city of Thousand Oaks. That doesn't apply to the unincorporated county and in Casa Conejo specifically, even though all around you, there has been that switch. So you are all still with the same provider until the county's contract with them is up, and that will be expiring in December of 2023. And at that time, we'll be looking at what other service providers are available. So our county is looking at that and just seeing, what we can do to always looking at see what we can do to improve. So you're all probably also aware of the COVID numbers, and we're looking like it's potentially reached a peak, but the experts don't know for a few days now. But it has been an incredible burden on our hospitals, and it seems like we all know someone else who's just gotten COVID. So it's a real concern out there too. our county will continue to have these virtual meetings as our Board of Supervisors, as well as the other committees and our MACs. So just another month, and then we'll take a look at that again. Also, at Newbury Park High School on April 30th, there's going to be what we call a community beautification event day. And that's where you can bring your yard waste, your big bulky items, and over to the high school, and they will dispose of it. And so that's always a wonderful service, as well as electronic waste. And you should be getting a notice of that in your bill, in your trash bills too, I believe. Is that right, Denise?
Yeah, they send a flyer out as the date gets closer.
Okay, and then it was nice to send out an annual, I usually give updates to all the MACs, but this time I shared it with each other, so everyone got to see what's happening in other areas of my district, and that was kind of a neat look. And I was able to highlight Ashley as one of the neat things that has happened to our Casa Conejo MAC. And thank you, Scott Horn, for doing that recruiting. It's great to have the students' voice and also get a better understanding of what's going on in the communities in our high school, and that's great to hear. And we also enjoy having her. We do have one opening on our MAC, and I know I believe Catherine, who's on this evening, is one of the people who have put in an application. So we do have some opportunities for the MAC to grow. I believe we also have an opening for alternate member, one open seat and then one alternate seat. And applicants must live in the Casa Conejo area. And you can connect with Venice, my assistant here, who will see that you get an application, or email either one of us, and we'll get that to you.
I'll put my email in the chat.
Thank you. So you can connect with her if you're interested and you live in Casa Conejo. Also, we had discussed, but it was pretty neat, the Newbury Park High School cross-country team. We put together accommodation from our Board of Supervisors and certificates from the MAC, and we sent them to the school, recognizing the cross-country team for their state championship win. The Panther boys delivered record-shattering performances, winning Division I state championship, and became the first team to win Division I by triple digits. And the Panther girls team finished second to Fresno Buchanan in the Division I, but also scored the fastest time in Ventura County. The Panther boys ranked #1 in the United States, set a new national high school record, finishing the 5,000 meter course in an average of 14 minutes and 41 seconds, and also for their best own mark that they received there too. Newbury Park High School Colin Solom won the individual title at 14:26. And then it's neat, Leo and Lex Young placed second and third and the NCAA division. And they're brothers to the All-American Nico Young, who also broke an indoor under 20-year-old 5K record by about 25 seconds. The guy's a phenom. So it's just kind of exciting to have them in our community out there. So I know your MAC had talked about recognizing them, and so we were able to do that. And I'm glad we were.
We got a bunch of certificates out. We'll get them out.
Yes. So that pretty much completes my comments. Our Board of Supervisors is, as I said, meeting virtually. We've got a new district in District 2 that includes parts of the city of Camarillo. So that's going to keep us a little busier. Not that we're not already pretty busy. A wonderful article in the Camarillo Acorn. It might appear in the Thousand Oaks Acorn on the Growing Works Nursery out there on Lewis Road, that I think that a lot of you know about, that we started up. It's a nonprofit drought tolerant.
That too.
Oh, look at, she's got the article.
My scanner's not working, so I have to do it like Vanna White today.
No, I didn't. Look how handy you are. But it was a very nice article featuring the employees that work there, who are people who are recovering from mental illness. And it's a great program that the county has. And with that, that kind of concludes my comments. Unless there's any questions, I'm available to answer.
Any questions, council?
I have a question. I received a public notice of change of ownership of properties from something called TFX Aviation Incorporated on Old Conejo Road. I think this is the old Tallies Corporation. And for those of you that don't know, Tallies was one of the original aerospace firms in our area. And they were up essentially where the Wendy Bridge is on make sure I get it right now, southeast corner, I believe, where there's a medical plaza now, and that whole area that's been developed. There's toxic waste dumping from decades in that particular thing that they had to remediate. So do we have any understanding of what this is about and how it affects because as I also understand it, continuing remediation happens there. They have to pump like thousands of gallons of water every day through that toxic waste site in order to properly filter it. Linda, can you elaborate a little on this, please?
You know, I know that the last time we looked at this, I think was actually at a request from Ed Villa, who is asking questions about one of the issues associated with it is that it has, after it cleans the waters, it disposes waters into the creek area, and the waters are of higher temperatures than normal. I think in the like 80 degrees kind of realm. But as far as property changing hands, I'm not knowledgeable about, and that it's interesting that you would get a notice on that. So we'll be glad to look it up and get back to you on that.
Okay, I'll relay this to you guys to see, because that made it interesting why they would announce it to us. There must be something major that has to be dealt with. And all right, I'll relay this to you guys.
We got a letter a while ago about some kind of water and things that were in the water and marks and having to monitor them. Is that the same one you're thinking of? And this is I think this is the second letter that followed that one.
I'm not sure. I don't remember that one personally.
You're talking about Old Conejo and Wendy Drive, correct?
Yes.
They put in the business condos or whatever you want to call them.
Yes, it's that area that I'm talking about. Yes. Anyway, I'll forward the letter and we'll see what it means.
Sounds good. Thank you. Any other questions for Supervisor Parks?
No.
Thank you for your report. Okay, next, council comments on items not on the agenda. Council, you have anything new? Ashley, you have anything new? Ashley,
Oh,
please
sorry, Ashley.
unmute, please.
Yep. There we go. There we go.
I gotta pull up my notes really quick. Okay, so for our ASG activities, due to weather and COVID, we decided to push back our winter dance date, moving it from February to March. We're looking at either having it the same day as Westlake, which would be the 26th, or having it earlier on the 12th. Really just looking at our COVID protocols as well as the weather, because if there is rain and it is an outside dance, we'd have to cancel it and refund all of our tickets. And dances is the main way we make our money. As well as next month, we're looking at Black History Month, as well as recognizing the diversity and the small population of Black students we have on campus, making sure that they feel heard and seen on our campus. As well as we are starting a new recycling program through our recycling club, as well as ASG is looking into composting. So having 3 different bins at school, having a trash bin, a recycling bin, as well as a composting bin, because trash is a very large issue on our campus and there's always a lot of it, and that could definitely be reduced. As well as in the coming months, we're planning our prom. So the junior class board, which I'm a part of, we are planning prom, which is going to be, I believe it's going to be in the Odyssey, which I believe is in Granada Hills. We were supposed to have it last year, but due to COVID, we couldn't. So we're happy to be able to work with them again, as well as planning several senior year grad events, including grad night, graduation, that kind of stuff. And then just some school-wide things. We finished our fall sports program, as Ms. Parks was saying, our cross-country team taking it home. We're so proud of them. We were able to have a couple events for them on campus, make sure that they understood how big of a deal this was. Setting so many records like they always do. It's just become the normal thing on campus. As well as our winter sports are slowly coming to an end. So those are going to be wrapping up in the next month or so, and we're excited to bring in spring sports, as well as we had finals week last week, which was, it's always a stressful time for students. And then we were able to begin semester 2 this week, meaning that a lot of kids on campus were starting their new block classes, and yeah, just beginning the new chapter at Newberry.
Thank you. Sounds very exciting. Anybody have questions for Ashley?
I wanted to ask about the recycling center club. That is like the new big thing. I have contact with the garden club teacher, Ann Alvarez. They have that organic garden on the between the baseball fields and the one classroom. Is that something related to this? Is this garden club related to the recycle thing?
No, those are two different things. Our garden club is actually run by our special ed program. It's a majority of what Mrs. Alvarez does correlates with the special ed program. So they like to go out there and plant stuff and pick the strawberries. It's one of their favorite things, and it's very fun to watch. But no, those are two very different things. Yeah.
Well, that's great that they're actually growing food and stuff out there.
Yeah. We're happy to have it back, because online school for our special ed teachers was definitely rough. So they're very gracious to have that back.
Okay, thank you very much. Sounds like good stuff is starting to happen again at the high school, and I'm glad that some of your activities are coming back, and you guys will be hosting our community beautification event, so you will be excitement central at the end of April. Hopefully lots of the community will come and get rid of their big garbage and fill up all those bins. I've been out there before, and I always encourage everybody to also in touch with that event is kind of walk your neighborhoods and pick up some of the stray trash, places where people tend to throw beer cans and liquor bottles and stuff that's kind of along the sides of houses and places where lots of people park, but nobody's really staring out their front windows at it. So it's a good time for us to do that. I've gone and done that in other years just to help tidy up the neighborhood a little bit. So sounds good. Next, no further council comments?
Oh, I do have some comments. I wanted to talk about the trash situation, a little bit more about that. I happened to get the renewal notice from Newberry Disposal, and I wanted to point out to everybody that there are a couple of perks for being with Newberry Disposal that are quite good. And this involves recycling. You can request the larger size blue recycling barrel from the Newberry Disposal in order to get more recycled materials out, and they'll do it for free. You also can request a smaller trash container. It would make sense that if you're recycling more, you make generating less trash in theory. So you can request a smaller trash container, which actually lowers your trash bill a little bit. And I've done that, and it works out. Now, I do have a couple of interesting points to make out. I have also experienced their bulky item pickup situation. Once it says in the paperwork that we get 2 a year, but having done this for decades, you get intermittent response, whether it's 1 item or 2 items. This year, they said I could only have 1 item. And I don't know if that changed, but for the coming year, I'm going to hold on to this letter that says I get 2 items. So that's a customer service kind of a thing, but it hasn't been a big issue. But I want to say that they went the extra mile with my bulky item. I had a jacuzzi that I was throwing out, and I wanted it to go out in one big piece. They initially said, no, you might have to cut it up. We can't get it. And I got about 2 inches into it with a hacksaw and a cut all, and it was too much fiberglass flying everywhere. I called them back and said, no, this is not the way to do it. I know you guys can get this in there with a little help. I'll help with you or something like this. We can do this in one fell swoop and not have it be an environmental disaster. They agreed. They came out, just when they said they would. And there was 2 guys and they both were able to do it. And I was there to help if needed, but it was successful and they didn't charge me any extra. And I have had the ability to do a bulky item every year and have. It's a great way to get rid of your extra big, terrible trash. I recommend everybody take advantage of it. It's really a good thing. I do have questions about the new recycling, composting element of the thing. And I think we all do now. Being a member of the Organic Garden Club, I want to make sure that everybody has now these opportunities. So do we have a representative from the waste management team to come out and kind of maybe do a presentation or give us some guidance about the recycling, the actual composting part of now we're supposed to be doing? Is there something we can maybe get that, more info on composting?
I think that's a good idea.
Talked about that. Do you know what the status is?
We've gotten a lot of questions, so yes, we do know the status, and I'd like to turn it over to Venice because she's been answering those questions for residents depending on where they live.
I know you've helped me with some of mine. Thank you very much.
Right. We did ask about using compostable bags, and it seems like that is kind of per service provider. So the way it was explained to me by our integrated waste management office division is EJ Harrison, which Casa Conejo is serviced by EJ Harrison. They said that they're okay with you because there's a yuck factor in putting food into just the green bin. So a lot of people do like to use the bags as a way to kind of contain it. So for EJ Harrison's, food in a plastic bag and then placed in the green waste container is okay. Other areas, they don't want that. The service provider does not want that. But they were said that, as this program is launched, trials and errors are reviewed and best practices start to unfold. They will look at methods for collecting and change and certainly look at it and review it and share it with the community as that unfolds. So, and I know that I believe, Wendy, you had asked about having someone come out regarding rates. And so we're going to look at that at a later date, at a later MAC date. So.
Yeah, and, just kind of touch bases with this because California as a state changed a lot of the rules about what goes where. And I happen to have talked to a rep from Athens today at the Health and Wellness Festival that was out at the Global Center and got a nice chart from them. And it's like, oh, my pizza box, if it's not too totally yucky, now goes in the green waste bin. And some of those things that now go in the green waste bin feel a little strange. And I think it's going to take us a while to get used to it. But it's like, oh, this stuff goes to the green waste, this goes to the recycle, and what's left is trash. So we're, doing juggling trash bins for a while until we get used to it. And I know a lot of us have had to add an extra little trash can of some sort next to our usual recycle and garbage bags wherever we, tend to keep them in the house. So it's complex, but I think, it sounds like we have time to kind of learn the ropes of the new habits that we need. And hopefully eventually it'll all be better, but it'll take a while.
Right. And then as I said, as they are learned best practices, they'll start sharing that, as it's launched. There's going to be a learning curve is basically what they came back with. So
yeah, for the entire state, actually, not just us.
Yes. Okay.
Moving on.
Are there any other
Richard, I'm hearing you. Do you have
council comments? Oh.
No, I'm okay.
Okay, are we ready for public comments items?
One more. I want to, if possible, just amplify the Newbury Park High School cross-country thing. We gave them certificates for being the CIF champs and the state champs, which is phenomenal for both the boys and the girls to do this. But taking it one step further, the Newbury Park boys cross-country team won the national championship down in Alabama. They didn't just win the national championship, they obliterated the records. They fully stomped everything. Let us now call it the best cross-country prep event of all time. and we're the hometown for these guys. So I want to say to Ashley again how proud everybody is. And in theory, we've actually created, or the coach has created a powerhouse that it could sustain it for quite a long time, and perhaps will, on its coattails, bring higher quality athletics to the other parts of the Newbury Park programs as well. But the national championship is one thing I wanted to point out and just say congratulations, just mind-blowingly good work.
All right, great. Public comments not on the agenda. I know Brett
Miller, I've asked you to unmute, please.
How you doing?
Good.
Yeah, wanted to ask about enforcing the protected bike lane that's on Wendy going up the hill in front of Kimber Park.
I'm sorry,
Okay.
say that
That's actually in the city of TO.
Is that?
Yeah, Wendy, the bike lane that goes up to Borchard, that's kind of where Casa Conejo ends. But as a cyclist, I will always try to be helpful where cycling is concerned, if I can.
Okay. Well, who do you recommend reaching out to then?
For City of Thousand Oaks, that would be Kathy Naum, Naoum. She
Okay.
does all of the bicycling involvements and runs the bicycle advisory team, of which I happen to be a member. And the traffic stuff. So I know she pays, pretty good attention to her emails and everything else.
Okay. No, I appreciate it. It's like there's a protected lane that nobody should be even crossing for the bicyclists, and everybody's just parking there for church or for any other things going on in the park. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, sometimes it's a little tricky when places overflow, and I know it's hard when cyclists are pushed out into traffic lanes, which are not as safe for them as where they normally ride in the bike lanes. Hopefully that's not an all day. I don't think that's an all day, everyday thing. I ride Kimber quite often, but I probably don't head through there on Sunday mornings when they're busy.
Well, it's on Wendy though. It's on Wendy though, where there shouldn't be any parking at all.
So it's by the park as well as the church?
Yeah, well, the park and church, like going up the hill on Wendy. Whenever you hit the stop sign on Wendy and then start going up the hill, is where it is, where there's no street parking at all, or there shouldn't be.
Okay, I'll try to send Kathy a note too, but you're welcome to contact her directly.
Hey, Brett, how much?
I can try to send her a note.
Brett, a question for you. That also has right at that corner there, one of the off-leash dog parks at that exact location. Is it overflow from the dog park people?
No.
I don't know. It could be, but
okay.
There shouldn't be any parking on that street with a double line with a chevron on it.
Yeah, sadly to say that most of the people that go to the dog park with their dogs, let the dogs run around in the big open space and nobody uses the enclosed park. That's kind of what happens at that particular park. I've gone up there and sometimes used the track for walking and things, and I always see off-leash dogs in the people area and not in the dog area.
Yeah, well, thank you.
You're welcome. Denise, do you have a next one?
I don't have any other hands raised or anything in the chat, so.
Is there anyone out there in our audience that's listening and hasn't raised their hand? Catherine?
Catherine Hogue, I've asked you to unmute. I've asked, you have to click unmute. It should pop up. I've asked you to unmute.
Yeah, there we go.
There you go.
I was curious if anyone else has had any problems with flooding. It appears that after the big rains we had, I had some flooding into my bathroom. And I don't know if that's just unique to my home or if other people have experienced that. We probably had a pretty high water table in the ground at that time. Anyway, I have to get a plumber out to find out what
I have some anecdotal information. There was a next door post after the first storms of the season where one person had the water in Casa, and it didn't say exactly who it was, I remember now, but in Casa Conejo that had water in their backyard, and it took forever to subside, and he had plumber out, and the plumber said it wasn't that, and what have you. It was just the high water table was what that person eventually decided.
My backyard turned into a swamp at the worst of it, and then it, kind of sank in. A couple of things, it maybe you want to check outside your house for the drainage of where your water is going and make sure it's directed away from your house. You could talk to your plumber about it or your landscaper or whatever. But I know my backyard got pretty swampy for a couple of days during the worst of it. It finally kind of got to that point, and I'd seen it a few years ago, but it doesn't come towards my house. It kind of sits out in the backyard, and eventually, sinks in, and it's kind of muddy and soggy for a while, but it does clear up on its own.
Yeah, it's never been a problem before. Other times when it really rained a lot, I would actually open the gate to our backyard to let excess water flow out. There is, on the other side of my yard, there is a hole in the wall, like I don't know, 4 by 4 inch hole to allow water to escape. And then on the other side, it would go underneath the gate. And I think there was just such a sheer volume of water, and it seemed like it rained nonstop 24/7 for several days. So, and I wasn't, it was cold and windy, so I wasn't about to go out there, but I didn't realize that could have been causing problems.
It could be, yeah, if you check the grade and make sure the water is draining away from your walls and so forth, because it could have seeped up and through. And our houses have been around here for a long time, so sometimes it's kind of a upkeep thing. And yes, our recent storms were, bigger and heavier and longer. I hadn't had a backyard swamp in a few years, but every once in a while we do get a good share of rain. Unfortunately, it's like it's going to have to keep us for another month because we're supposed to be dry the rest of this one. But
well, next time I will get my umbrella and go out there and open the gate to make sure my yard drains. But I'm going to have to get a plumber out to fix whatever happened in my bathroom, because I'm getting a bad odor from the drains. And I think I did notice on Nextdoor, somebody posted about getting a bad odor from some of their drains. I don't know if anybody recalls.
Probably clogged in there and they need to clear them for you.
That could be.
We're at that age. I just had major plumbing work done on my house, so.
Yeah, that's probably it. So thanks.
Thank
Good
you.
luck with that.
They can put a backflow device on so that the water doesn't back up through your drainage line, through your bathroom toilet. They can do that. They can put a backflow, which will stop the flow coming back into your house.
Okay, Wendy?
Anything else for public comments?
I don't have any other hands raised. So.
I don't see any. Okay.
So that's the end of
Okay,
public comments.
yes.
All right, so item number 10 is advisory items. So we have the subdivision project at Wendy Drive and Old Conejo Road. Do you want to start that, Venice or Supervisor?
Well, Jessica, I just asked you to unmute. I saw you're on here. Did you? Hi.
Hi.
So we do have
Good
Jessica
everyone.
Magana from the city.
Hi, I'm an associate planner with the City of Thousand Oaks. I've been working closely with the property owner for this site at 701 North Wendy Drive for over a year.
We lost your sound.
You're muted.
Uh-oh. Hold on, Jessica. We can't hear you.
We've lost your sound.
Yeah, we
Sorry.
lost.
Yeah, I don't see her
You're not
microphone
muted.
off, but
It was right in the middle of her speaking too, so it wasn't like she pressed a button.
Yeah, no, she's not. You're not muted, but your sound isn't coming through. Uh-oh.
not sure what. Maybe she can mute and unmute again, and maybe that will fix.
Okay, and let me ask you to unmute.
Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yeah. Huh.
Okay, I'm sorry, I was talking
Hear
to
you.
myself for the last minute. I'll introduce myself again. My name is Jessica Magana. I'm an associate planner with the city of Thousand Oaks. I've been working with the property owner at the site for over a year. We have 2 projects that are proposed. One project, the tentative track map, has been approved by our planning commission. That was noticed in August and went to our commission in October. And that was for the subdivision of the existing shopping center to be subdivided into 6 properties. And so that was heard at our commission and that was approved. The reason why some of these large shopping centers get cut up into different parcels, a lot of times it's for financial reasons. So in this case, the property owner is not intending to sell the parcel separately, but sometimes due to financing, they need to, break down the site in order to finance what they're proposing. And so the second kind of project that is currently in process is for all the development that is proposed at the site. And so the development that it currently is not approved and is still under review, and will be a decision will be made by the community development director at an administrative level. That includes a new daycare facility. It's going to be in line with the existing building, and it's going to be adjacent to Old Conejo Road. That building is a little under 10,000 square feet. It will have an outdoor play area for, so the kids can have some outdoor space. The second building is, there we go.
So I brought this plan up here. I just didn't, I knew that we'd much rather see the plan and talk about it. I'm going to blow it up a little bit here so that everybody can kind of get a feel and as we're talking about stuff.
Okay, yeah. So the daycare facility is going to be this major C building. Again, it's a little under 10,000 square feet. There is an outdoor play area behind the building. And there will be some the driveway entrances to this site, again, will not change. They are proposing to add, kind of reconfigure some of the parking and landscaping on the site, but all driveway access for egress and ingress on the site will remain the same. So that's kind of what's happening up at that corner. And then on the opposite side, at the south end, pad C, this is an 1,800 square foot pad building. There we go. Yeah, the file is very large, so it takes a little while for it to upload. That is being proposed. So it is a drive-through facility. We don't currently know what use or what business will go in there. And the drive-through queuing, I know that a lot of people had some concerns, will wrap around the building. So again, egress will not change. People will still have access through Wendy Drive, and they will come up through the site and then loop around that building and then come back around. So there will be obviously some site modifications to accommodate this pad building. There will be some changes to landscaping, parking. We have conditions obviously already in place for the site because the site already has another drive-through facility. And so this pad building will also need to comply with those conditions. There is an existing 11-foot, maybe 11.5-foot tall wall along that property line that is landscaped.
Keep it quiet.
And we will, so there will be conditions in regards to the queuing, in regards to the noise, to help alleviate some of the concerns on those issues. Throughout the site, there will be some landscaping improvements. There will also be some trash enclosures that will be relocated, and there'll also be some outdoor dining adjacent to some of the existing restaurants. Those dining spaces will be enhanced. In the world of COVID, you know, everybody wants to eat outdoors, so they will be offering a little bit more dining for all the customers for those restaurants. Yeah, so I'm happy to answer any questions. Again, this project has not been approved. So if you are interested in getting a copy of the draft conditions or the approval letter once it goes out with the conditions and a full copy of the plans, I'll be happy to provide that to you. I don't know the best way, maybe send your contact to Venice, or you can always email me and I will add you to the list and send that information over to you.
Ms. Magana, can you go over what you know? I think a couple of our primary concerns are traffic, because that is already a very dangerous and crowded section of Wendy Drive. That letter that I sent to the Planning Commission, which was at length. The other thing is the noise from the drive-through. It's not just the drive-through itself, it's all the cars waiting in line with their radios blaring and people yowling on their cell phones and things, which would be very disruptive to the neighborhood with that project going on this side. So those are,
I can help answer. So the site already has a drive-through facility.
Not there, not in that spot. It's a new spot.
Yeah, of
Having
course.
another drive-through doesn't make it any different. It's a new spot.
Yeah, of course. So we will be bolstering the conditions for noise, for the hours of operation. We also are looking, you know, making sure that those concerns are heard. And that's
So let's start with those concerns right now. Then we'll take a look at drive-through E, which is the existing drive-through. Look at all the space that it's around there for its drive-through space and all the parking spaces you have there. And that's a 2,400 square foot thing. The other thing is going to be 1,800 foot, and it has no parking and is jammed up well up against the neighborhood there. This is a bad idea, and we don't want this there at all. We need you to rethink this whole proposal and take that out of there. This is dangerous and downright offensive to our community.
Okay, so I can talk on the queuing and the traffic.
Could you please, because it looks, it's
Yeah.
Yeah. When we look at that space, it is super tight. It's small. It's got a little planter with some trees, and it's parking for Exer and maybe some overflow parking for the restaurants, which restaurants that are near it are park your car, go in and get what you want. They're quiet, they're not obstreperous. In order to make money at a drive-through, you need high volume and lots of people coming and going. It looks like there's very little room for people to get back out the driveway safely. And I know that driveway is already tricky, and it impairs traffic that's coming out of Bella, which is just down the street from it. And so we can't get in and out from our houses. So what we would like to see is have the restaurant moved over by the Taco Bell, which is not in people's backyards, and go closer to the daycare and leave the quiet spot where it is, so that more of the traffic that would go through the second restaurant, like as well as the Taco Bell, processes on Old Conejo Drive, which can handle that traffic much more efficiently and not impair all the residential traffic, because we not only have the Casa Conejo traffic, we have all the traffic from everybody all the way out past Lynn into Dos Vientos. So
Yeah, I hear that.
Conejo.
So our traffic engineer, Kathy, did review this for queuing and for traffic purposes. It is a permitted use and it didn't trigger an additional traffic analysis.
Why not?
For this site.
Why not?
Okay, sorry, it's just everyone's shouting, so I want to make sure I answer all your questions. If you could just let me finish, please.
But I think our question.
Yeah, so for
is
traffic,
Benefit.
yeah, so for traffic, there are different thresholds, and again, I'm not a traffic engineer, but there are different thresholds. So if an In-N-Out or a Chick-fil-A or a Raising Cane's was proposed there, it would be evaluated for the amount of traffic for those uses. So obviously those are higher traffic generating trip, you know, there's more trips for those uses, right? The queuing for an In-N-Out is different than a queuing for something that isn't so, lack of a better term, in high demand. So we know that it won't be one of those highly queuing drive-through uses. And so for what they're proposing and how the traffic was evaluated in the queuing, it does not trigger or have any traffic impacts.
I find that hard to believe. And why is it such a secret as to what they want to put there? Because a lot of the new Nashville hot chicken places, for example, those lines are worse than In-N-Out lines, and anything that's going to make money is going to have heavy traffic and long waits. Farmer Boys has long waits and long traffic, for example. That's a little quieter chain or whatever, but we don't even know what they want to put there. But I don't see how anybody would want to put something that doesn't generate plenty of traffic there, because you wouldn't make any money if it didn't. The economics don't make sense.
Okay, so, you know, they don't have a lease with a business. They're not required to provide a copy of, you know, we don't know. We just know what it won't be. It won't be a use that will trigger or go beyond what we evaluated as far as trip counts and traffic and queuing.
Yes.
It overflows. How do we get it to not overflow? Because once it's there, it's very hard to undo. I don't think that a drive-through is an appropriate use of that piece of the shopping center. I think most of us feel it's the wrong place, where there are other places in that shopping center on the other side of it that do not have the disruptive factor of where it is currently proposed.
Yeah, and these are all valid concerns. We did notice the site in May. We did receive some comments from the adjacent neighbors. We received one comment regarding the drive-through. Most of the comments were referencing the daycare. Again, this project has not been approved. It's still under review. If you want a copy, so basically the next phase is we will add the conditions, finalize the site plan, and if you have comments, you can feel free to email me. If you have concerns, we can try to address them. After the approval letter goes out, there is an appeal process. And so this can, you know, if you are unhappy with the way that the site is laid out, or if you want the pad to be located in a different facility, if you're concerned with noise or with traffic, valid reasons, right? You're a neighbor here, you could potentially be impacted. It could be appealed to the Planning Commission for further review.
So our MAC decides to write a letter opposing the drive-through. We should send it to you. Are you the appropriate contact at the city? Or
I am the project planner for this site, yes.
You are the project planner. Yeah. And then we could also send it to the property owner?
Yeah, you can. If you know, the property owner has made it very clear that if any of the residents would like to speak with him on any of the concerns, that he's happy to talk that through with them as well. Again, this is what the property owner is proposing. it's a permitted use. We add conditions, we evaluate it for any potential impacts. And, you know, we'll work with the residents, we'll work with the property owner. But as far as, you know, we evaluate it, we review it, we add conditions, and then, you know, we try to make sure that all of the concerns are addressed.
How many cars, let's go per hour, for example, how many cars do they think will go through there per hour or per day? Or how many extra car trips does he estimate that the drive-through will generate?
You know, I don't have that. Kathy would probably be the best person to answer that question. I don't have that off the top of my, you know, don't have that on me. But if you want that information, I can definitely reach out to her and have her respond to you as far as like the evaluation for queuing, and also how they came up with kind of what the triggers are for traffic. Again, the driveway is not changing. They're not widening the driveway. So the existing driveways on the site will remain the same.
So, and the lane merges will remain the same as they are currently striped?
Off-site or on-site?
Well, the lane that goes along Wendy Drive.
Mm-hmm.
From,
so off-site. Mm-hmm.
Well,
so there are no changes off-site that are currently being proposed.
Oh, it's the shopping center, but it goes from 2 lanes to 1 lane before you get, as you get to the driveway where the drive-through end of it is. There's a merge, and it is already an extremely tight, dangerous merge as it is, because people use the right-hand lane but don't want to wait for the through lane to go through. So it's actually a passing lane for many people as it is driven, which when you add a bunch of cars coming and going in and out of that driveway, it makes it even more complicated to get through there for those of us who already have trouble now. So trying to figure out how many added car trips to the mess it would.
This information is not approved yet.
Yeah, so there are no off-site improvements that are currently a part of this project, but if you are concerned with that driveway lane, I can definitely bring that up to our traffic engineer and get you those numbers for you.
That would be good. Ed, did you have something you wanted to add?
What's that?
Ed, did you have something you would like to contribute to the?
Wendy, as much as you are talking to her about the streets, and they're already telling you that they've said it's okay by putting it in, you have to remember it's going to benefit the city of Thousand Oaks financially and the owner. And it doesn't matter if it doesn't benefit the residents of the area, because they're doing this and they're going to do this regardless of how you're going to look at this. Because I can see by listening to her, they've already decided that they're going to let it go and say, okay.
Well, the question is how many more traffic accidents we need to have, and what the,
That's immaterial to them, because they're going to make money out of this. It's all about financial beneficiaries.
What they could put another drive-through over on the Taco Bell side without creating the detriment to the neighborhood and the traffic.
What we ought to do is have her send out the final, what they plan to do, and then we can have a better angle of attack. And because she's not going to tell you anything, because she doesn't know anything what's going in that area. We already know it's going to be a drive-through, so we should just mute the topic and go on to the next and wait for her to send more information.
Yeah, you guys can always send me your questions and I can get them. You know, if you have traffic concerns or specific questions with queuing, I can send those to our traffic engineer and she can respond to you.
Do you have a timeline you could provide us with what you think is going to happen when, please?
Well, no, the project has been in our queue for almost 14 months. And so I really don't have a timeline. I'm hoping to narrow down some of these conditions. I hear what you guys are saying and your concerns. The site is a commercial center, so there are already conditions that are on the site that that all of the businesses are required to comply with, such as hours of operation, lighting, noise, delivery hours, things like that. But I'm willing to work with if you guys have serious concerns with the location, I mean, I can bring that up to the property owner as well, and see if there's any way that he can mitigate any of your concerns further. But as you know, it's not, the project has not been approved. It's still under review.
So Jessica, the project you say has been in the works for about 14 months, but it only surfaced here on Friday, this map and what have you. So this is the first that we're actually physically seeing any kind of specifics to the vague 14 months of planning and what have you. So let me ask you this first about the subdivision. Is Pad C one of these 6 subdivided lots that the city went through with in that last thing that was up there?
Yeah, so back in October, the Planning Commission approved the subdivision. So currently this was one parcel, and the subdivision was to divide this parcel into 6. And so essentially all the pad buildings are now on a separate parcel, and then the bigger building would be split into 2 parcels. We do have parcel requirements for size, lot coverage, and they met all of those requirements.
So when this first materialized, this plan, I was in disbelief of what they were trying to do, sandwich this drive-through between the existing urgent care center and the homeowners. So I physically went up to walk this to see exactly what it was up there. And I say to myself, there's hardly any room up there at all to do this. So as a planner, did you know that this was, in other words, when this was remodeled, when this gateway, Old Conejo Gateway was remodeled, they put in as much space as they could to use up the space, and when they built the Exeter Urgent Care Center, they built parking lots for the people there, and there's no room to put a drive-through between what the planners like yourself did. They planned this shopping center the last time, and they built it out as much as they possibly could. And yet now we're allowing a little bit more build out that's going to just mess up the neighborhood and just cause a lot of problems. We need an advocate for the city. Have you walked this spot? Have you actually been there to see what this looks like, Jessica?
Yes, I am familiar with the site.
So isn't it a very tight fit to try and squeeze some new project between what is already existing there?
It is tight, but
yes,
the site plan is to scale. So they're still meeting the setback requirement. They're meeting the requirements as far as lot coverage and all of our development standards.
Meeting the standards doesn't make it right. We need an advocate to change this.
And again, the project is still under review. It has not been approved.
So when will city council vote on this?
This is an administrative level hearing.
So it won't even go to city council. Okay.
Yeah. So I guess I can explain kind of the process, right? So what they're proposing meets all of our standards for development. They're not exceeding any thresholds that would require them to automatically go to the Planning Commission for approval. This is an administrative decision made by our Community Development Director. So once that decision is made, there is an appeal period after that. If you have concerns, you can appeal the project. At that point, it would be heard by the Planning Commission for consideration.
So the Community Development Director made the decision not to let this go before council. Who is that? Who is the Community Development Director?
Scott, I don't think you're quite understanding the process correctly. some things go through an administrative level. And I think what we would probably like to do, and I do have a couple of questions from some of our audience folks that in the queue that I think are important for us to all hear, is that we want, rather than fight this from an appeal level, we'd rather get the developer to change his mind before it gets that far and work with the, you know, the admin process before we're fighting an appeal, and, you know, just get them to do something that we think is better for the neighborhood, but also has a win factor for the property owner, which I think we could probably do by relocating the drive-through to the old Conejo side closer to Taco Bell. But I would like to, unless Richard or Ed have any further comments, I'd actually like to take the couple of questions we have from our people who are here from the community with us. If I may do that, is that okay with you guys?
Go for it.
Okay.
Do you want, I know Catherine Hogan said she had a comment, and then you had one other person who was Jennifer?
Yes, her name is Jennifer. I'm not.
Jennifer, okay.
At the moment, oh, I think I do know actually who she is now.
Okay.
She's not in my viewpoint, so I would like to take those two questions from the community.
Yes. Scott, if you want to stop sharing your screen, then people could see better
Sure.
who's speaking. Catherine, I've asked you to, oh, you're unmuted.
I unmuted. It would be nice to be able to see everybody. Yeah, I have some major concerns about this because where do the people who need to go to ExtraCare park? The drive-through is so close to ExtraCare, and ExtraCare has several parking spots along the side there. And then people can park in the other parking lot, but sometimes people come there with an emergency. They need to park close to the curb. And are those parking spots going to be labeled for ExtraCare only to prevent people that want to go through the drive-through from parking there after they've gotten whatever they want to get?
Good question.
And I'm just really concerned about the traffic flow, just too many different places egressing. And after work, after 5 p.m., that drive-through is going to see probably the highest traffic. So is probably the ExtraCare, and so does Wendy Drive. I know several years ago, we already had to work hard at managing traffic there because you have the 2 lanes turning into 1 at that point, and that kind of got resolved. But by putting a drive-through in that spot, it's going to create a major traffic headache, as well as prevent some people who have medical issues from getting to the ExtraCare and finding parking.
Thank you.
Okay. And
I'm gonna unmute Jennifer.
Hey, I'm Jennifer, and
Hi.
the question I have for you, Jessica, is how frequently do you drive down Wendy Drive using that lane adjacent to that property? Jessica?
Sorry, Jessica. There you go.
Thank you. Yeah, I visited the site at different times.
I'm not asking about visiting the site. I'm asking about driving down Wendy Drive using one of those 2 lanes that merge into 1 right at the spot that drive-through is going to be. How frequently do you do that?
I'm familiar with the site and I frequent the site often.
That doesn't answer my question.
Right.
Yeah,
Being in charge
I mean,
of
I
this
don't drive the
project-
site every day, but I
I'm not
am
asking you to
familiar.
drive the site.
Yeah.
I'm asking you how often you pass the site and go into
Um,
Newbury Park on Wendy Drive using one of those 2 lanes.
I
I'm going to
pass-
say 0. Okay, 0 time.
No, I am
Maybe
familiar
one
with the
weekend.
site and I do drive through there. I'm a local resident.
Of
Once a
Newbury
week,
Park?
once a month, once a day?
Probably once a week, maybe.
okay.
So
Have
I,
you
yeah.
tried to come in and out of Bella Drive onto Wendy Drive?
No, I don't come out of that street.
Many of us come out of Bella and already have a very difficult time getting into or off of Wendy Drive, because Wendy Drive is the only way some of us, including, I believe Jennifer lives on the same quadrant that I do, getting to our houses. Bella is the primary access point. We don't have other options unless we go out of our way to Alice to get to and from Wendy Drive. So I would ask you to make a tips of trying to make rights and lefts from Wendy Drive using Bella and onto, from Bella onto Wendy, vice versa, because you can wait a really long period of time. And if you look at the pictures I sent the Planning Commission at the October meeting where I spoke, I was the one person who filled up your supplemental packet. That I took pictures of how close the cars are, and I was standing basically at the corner of Bella and Wendy Drive, and there's not that many feet to go to or from there. So that's, that is definitely a major neighbor concern. Ed, did you have your hand up or were you moving?
No.
Can I make a comment?
Yes, please.
I worked for the city 30 years and I've looked at a lot of site plans, plot plans. And I have to say, this is not really a good plan for the city, especially for Newberry Park and Casa Conejo. I agree with everything that Wendy said and everybody said about relocating it. There's got to be a better place on that property to locate an in and out, or not an in and out, but a drive-through. So my recommendation is go back to the builder and have them give you a better proposal. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. Okay. Are we ready to kind of move forward and to have a discussion of how we would like to do this? Supervisor Parks.
Supervisor Parks.
I would just say that I would like to be able to give them some recommendations so they have a clear understanding of what it is that you would like to see there. And I always want to treat the staff members really respectful. I appreciate that we had a staff person from Thousand Oaks come and speak to you so you can get information straight hand. But I think the best that you can do is just explain clearly what it is that you would like. And I know that's what you're going to do now, putting it in writing and giving the opportunity for the developer and the city to work with your recommendation. And that's the best you can do. I'd also ask our transportation department if they'd like to take a look too, to see if they see a potential impact. But I know it's a tight situation there of entering from Wendy when you have already some confusion going on there with 2 lanes going to 1 and generating traffic from the shopping center is an issue, but also on Conejo Road, they don't want to start seeing backup there because it can back up into the intersection. So I can see where it is difficult in both areas to direct traffic, but offhand it seems like your suggestions of moving the main entrance for the drive-through over to the off of Conejo would be better than off of Wendy because of the confusion you already have on Wendy. That's been a problem even without the change in the shopping center. So I'll ask our transportation department if they have any comments, but I think that the best is for productivity is to just talk about what you would like to see there.
Thank you. Good ideas, and I would appreciate hearing from counties perspective on it, because I think we struggle now, and adding drive-through traffic to that would be difficult. Also, the old Conejo, you can only make a right or left turn from the back driveway, the one furthest at the back of the shopping center, not towards the light. The one closer to the light on Old Conejo, you can only make a right turn, or you can make it, or you can come into the shopping center, but you can't go across traffic to go the other direction. You have to go down further, but it's still an easier access point, and I think it's more appropriate to put the 2 restaurants together. So I think we should talk about drafting a letter, and hopefully we'll have some comments from county to incorporate that. But It sounds like our preference, if I'm understanding everybody's comments, is that we would prefer to see the drive-through situated on the other side of the shopping center if they're going to have one. And definitely it's not a happy thing to have the drive-through on Wendy Drive by that driveway and right in the backyards of our Casa Conejo homes and our access roads that, you know, it's already tough. So is that a fair understanding? Scott, Ed, Richard?
Well, I think that saying where we want them to relocate things is a little bit much. I think we should just be saying there shouldn't be one there.
I think to be safe, and this is what I tell anyone who's opposing a development, is make it better if you can. I mean, you can always say you don't want it, but if it does go in, here's your opportunity to make it better. So you don't want to lose that opportunity, because that, to me, that's your best bet, is let them know what it is that you'd like to see if they're going to go forward with this development that will make it better.
Mm-hmm.
Very good.
I agree. I like to try to make a win-win situation if I can. And so that, you know, I think that shopping center could be better used. And, you know, we've all been in this community for a long time. At least I know all the council members have. And so we've seen lots of different things come and go from there. And some of them just kind of languish. And, you know, it'd be nice to have something that's more useful and benefits the neighborhood. It's just how it is done and where it goes, so that we can all work together in a happy, safe fashion.
And this is the first time they've had the perspective of residents. You know, I mean, they've heard from the existing commercial uses and such, but it's really important input, and I think it's worthy of understanding. Another nice addition is this meeting is recorded, so if the traffic engineers or traffic planners want to take a look at this and hear directly, they'll have that too. Something that's kind of new because of, you know, COVID, that we have this ability. But I would recommend that you just give out the points that you would like to see, the bullet points, and a letter can be put together and you can approve it.
I think that's good.
Okay, moving on.
Richard?
Time to move on.
I think we're settled at the moment. Ms. Magana, thank you very much for coming and talking to us. Hopefully we haven't pounded you too badly, but I think you can see that we have concerns, and that we would like to have involvement in how this project goes forward and have our points of view be considered. And if there's information you can provide for us as to timetables and making sure that we can get our information to you before we, you know, I'd love to work with you before it becomes a done deal and we have to work through an appeals process. I think it's much healthier for both the city and for us to be timely. So if there's material, I believe you can send that to Venice and Supervisor Parks, and they will distribute it to the council so that they will communicate it with us, and then you're not trying to reach 5 people. Does that sound like a reasonable plan, Venice?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Jessica. We really do appreciate you coming in and spending some time with us. And it's the message and not the messenger.
Yeah, you know, we just evaluate the projects, and I'm glad that you guys had a chance to comment on it. I wrote down all of your comments, and so I'll present that to the applicant and to our team. And feel free to also email me. My email is J M as in Mary, M as in Mary, A G as in Greg, A N as in Nancy, A at toaks.org. I have a list of interested individuals, so if you would like to be added to that interest list, I can send that to you. If you have specific comments, again, regarding the relocation of the building or access on and off the site, that you feel that needs to be addressed, I'm happy to review that with our team, with the traffic engineer, with the applicant, and see if we can make revisions. I think the reason why this project has sort of lagged behind is because of the sensitivity, obviously, to the neighbors. And so we've really been working to kind of narrow down the scope of the work and the project as a whole. So this is not something that obviously has been rushed through. We've been thinking about modifications throughout the site. So, you know, that would be kind of the best options for everyone. But again, if you guys have additional questions or concerns, feel free to email me. I'll be happy to forward those and respond to your questions.
Thank you very much.
I put her email in the chat.
There was also another question in the chat that asked if the property owner could consider a regular restaurant instead of a drive-through. I'm just wondering, there may not be parking for that, right?
The parking is the same whether it's a drive-through or a restaurant, a sit-down restaurant. That, you know, that could be an option that's presented to him as well. Yeah, I mean, I can bring that up as well to them.
Okay, yeah, I just saw that in the chat. Well, again, thank you very much. This is, I think, at least second time that the city's brought forward, no, at least 3 times, you know, issues around that affect the Casa Conejo neighborhood. And we really appreciate you listening to the community, even though they're not residents of the city, they are the ones that are impacted.
Yep, we're its closest neighbors.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jessica.
So Wendy, if you would like to recommend some points that you would like if you want to do a letter, or we could just ask that Jessica bring the comments that she heard from us to the planning director and the developer, that could be sufficient.
I actually think it would probably be good if we summarize the points for her and put it in writing. If the council is willing, we send it as a letter from the MAC. So I'm going to make a motion that the MAC put together a summary letter that includes our preferences, and we can I can draft it. I can send it to Denise for your input if there's anything we need to modify before it gets sent to the city. So I would like to move that we put a letter together and send it to the city pertaining to the drive-through. Do I have a second?
Second that motion.
So to understand the motion, this is you're having Wendy be the spokesperson for you and drafting the letter and authorizing her to sign and representing the MAC's position. Is that right?
That's
Yeah.
fine, with me.
That's
Denise
correct.
can send it to you before it's signed and sent, so you can be.
The Brown Act won't allow us to do that. That's why.
Okay, well, that's fine. Okay.
Okay. And then if there's anything that members of the MAC wish to make sure that's included that they think may not, they can give you that opportunity now during the meeting.
So does she need to provide the points that are going to be in the letter now? Okay, in the motion.
So I can assist a little bit from what I heard. As terms of entrance and exit to the drive-through, your preference would be Conejo Road, is that right?
Relocate.
Wendy.
And your preference would be,
At all, we would prefer that the drive-through be situated so that the ingress and egress and the drive-through is on the old Conejo Road side of the property.
and then I also heard a desire to have it closer to the Taco Bell, is that correct?
That would appear to make sense in terms of there being room on the map. Their daycare is going next to it, appears O'Reilly.
Okay, so is that one of the points that you'd like in the letter too?
Yeah, that the drive-through, if they want to have a drive-through, it goes on the other side, suggested by the Taco Bell. It would make sense because people often
Okay.
something from one and then go right to the other anyway. So.
Okay, so that's 2 points. The third point, it sounded like, is you agree with the recommendation by Debbie in your chat that that the owner, instead of a drive-through, considers a sit-down regular restaurant. Is that right? Is that something you would prefer?
No.
Okay, so that's not, That's not one of the points. Okay,
I think we really want to get the drive-through out of the corner is the primary objective.
okay.
Secondary objective is if you have it put over there. I don't want to see a sit-down restaurant doesn't make sense for that corner. It's too small.
Okay, so we have the two main points that you've put in here, I think, and it's all relative to traffic flow, right?
And it's traffic flow and it's also noise from the drive-through and the cars upsetting, it's disruptive to the neighborhood. It's a noise issue as well as a traffic issue.
What is the noise issue?
Having the drive-through tucked between Exeter and the homes.
Okay,
That drive-through flows right through people's backyards.
The queue line, yes.
Queue line does.
and also I would imagine if there's noise, there's pollution, so you could have more exhaust.
Oh my gosh, yeah, more exhaust.
More exhaust. The other thing is probably light pollution for people's homes. In addition to noise and car pollution.
The condition that they put in for light pollution is downward shielded lighting, and that kind of takes care of that, so it doesn't spill over, but there's not much you can do about noise and pollution except for a taller wall, I guess.
It really doesn't solve it.
Well, it does help with noise.
It should definitely say that we request they relocate the drive-through to a different part of it, not where it is now. Don't try and squeeze it between the urgent care and the homeowners.
And that was kind of point two, don't you think?
That just says it should be more clear that we request the drive-through not be on that specific spot where it is now.
Okay.
So do you want this to be,
Or point number two could be, drive, whichever you want to put it.
because relocation,
Farther from where?
Relocation from between Exeter and the homeowners to somewhere else closer to Taco Bell, yes. And in fact, I think it should say, so to relocate it, so it is not sandwiched between Exeter and the homeowners.
Well, I think point one is really that a drive-through located on Wendy Drive in the back corner of the shopping center is unsafe and detrimental to the community of Casa Conejo and all the other drivers that utilize Wendy Drive.
Yeah, what she said.
Okay.
That's point one, is it causes an unsafe condition and it's not a safe location because there's already too much traffic on Wendy Drive.
That's a key point.
So that goes first.
Not only too much traffic on Wendy Drive, but also a change in traffic conditions or road conditions in the terms of you lose a lane there too. So
yeah, the losing the lane in the merge situation is already very dangerous.
merge,
and we can finesse we'll do
Okay.
wordsmithing later, but just to get the main points, and I think that will help you all to agree to what the letter will say.
Yes, but that's, I think, where the letter needs to begin.
Mhm.
okay.
And you're most welcome to draft, of course, Wendy.
I think I can pull a lot from what I've already written and sent to Thousand Oaks for their planning commission. I just have to
Okay,
buy it.
any other points that anyone wants to make? All right, and we
So
can,
we motion to approve these points as our core for addressing the changes we request in the Old Conejo Gateway Shopping Center proposal planning.
and approve the chairs to sign and send.
Okay. So Scott, you made the motion?
I made a motion that we adopt these points we made here and draft a letter and follow through with it with the appropriate.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. I'll do the roll call. Richard Gaz,
Absolutely.
Scott Horn,
Yes.
Ed Via,
Yes.
Chair Zimmerman,
Yes,
approved 4-0.
and Venice, you'll email this to me so I can make.
I
it.
will. I will.
Thank you. All right.
That was good work, everybody.
We're a good group.
Yes,
Okay.
that's what Scott looks like.
Next issue, item 10B,
Oh.
approval of the 2022 MAC meeting calendar. Did everybody get a chance to look at their calendar?
Mhm.
It's here. Look at that.
Oh, so pretty.
Magic.
I move that we approve this.
Well, hold on. There's a
meeting
couple things, if you'll notice.
What?
There's these little peach dates, alternate dates. There's one because I know that Wendy's, or no, it's not Wendy's, but it's the Rite of Silence
Also, you didn't take-
that Wendy at Supervisor Parks attend. Usually is on the third Wednesday of May. And so generally in the past, you have moved that meeting. We also run into, as we learned in March, the March meeting runs into Purim. So if you wanted to switch that date, I've provided 2 alternate dates.
What is the problem with March? Is there a conflict?
Oh, it ran into Purim this year, and we did have a concern about that running into a holiday.
Oh,
okay.
Yom Kippur are very different things. I have no need to move the March date.
We should
Okay,
keep
so
it.
that's our first date of the year. We're looking at March 16th. Are we agreed on that one?
I'm good with it.
Yes.
I'm
All
good
right,
with it.
Mac it is.
Okay,
Okay.
and then, so we'll keep the March date as the 16th. And
Okay.
then the May date,
Supervisor Parks, I can probably make the May normal meeting work. I did my Rite of Silence in the morning this past year, but if you wish to move it, I'm fine with that.
I don't move it for me. If I do go on it, I think you guys can live without me.
No.
That's a pretty
can't
big
live
ask.
without me. No, I'm just kidding.
As long as we have
No, Venice, we cannot live without you.
I'm kidding.
one of us.
Are we saying
okay.
18th? Are we gonna try for the 18th then?
So, okay, so we'll keep the yellow dates then. The
Roger that.
gold, I guess, gold dates.
Golden seal.
For the 18th?
18. Next one would be July 20th.
That looks fine.
Anybody have major summer goings on that could not attend council wise?
Looks like everything else works, Wendy.
Hell yeah.
Okay, so we have November 16th and September 21st. School should be back in session by then. Our July meeting has sometimes had to be moved around a little bit because of facilities, because the elementary school, if we're actually back to in-person, is moved. Or do we want to just keep that, not worry about it, and then meet on Zoom if the school is not available?
Or we've met at Borchard Community Center
Mhm.
when we haven't had the school. That's what we've done in the past,
That's fine.
Fine, but
pre-COVID days.
Remember,
Now we're up to September 21. Is that day okay?
fine with me.
Okay.
Ashley, if you have a problem with any of these dates, you just let us know too. You gotta be okay with these.
Oh, here, let me ask her to unmute.
No, it's for the high school and my personal schedule, looking, I don't know, even 2 or 3 months ahead is a little bit crazy, especially in the athletics realm as things change in a couple hours notice. So if I can't make a meeting, I can always send one of my other friends or people in student government. It won't be an issue.
Thank you. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Oh,
Okay, so then we have November, is November 16. How's that looking?
good. It's not right bumped up against Thanksgiving.
No,
Good.
I don't think it's Thanksgiving.
Those days look good. Motion to accept the dates we've on the calendar for future MAC meetings.
I'll second.
okay, Scott made the motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Richard will second. I'll do a roll call. Richard Guest,
Yes.
Scott Horn,
Yes.
Ed Villa,
Yes.
and Chair Zimmerman.
Yes,
Great.
Hey, while we're on calendars, the street sweeping calendar is out for Casa Conejo. I posted it on Nextdoor, but I wanted to just let everybody know that the street sweeping calendar is out for the full year, so you can know when to move your cars out of the front of the yard, get the maximum sweepage out of your front of your house there. If anybody needs that, I've got a copy of that, and it should also be on our website.
Yes, it's posted on the Mac the Casa Conejo Mac webpage.
Awesome.
thank you for posting that, Scott.
Thank you. Welcome.
Okay. Close for calendar, and now moving on to milestones, item C.
Oh, yes, let me share again. Hold on.
Thank you.
Where are those? Okay. So I went through the milestones that I sent out last meeting. And in red, I just added dates that I looked up that I was able to find. And then just listed, I didn't wordsmith anything. I just listed other and by all means, is it exhaustive? I'm sure you guys can come up with more, but these are just what I did in the time between the last time we talked about this. Because Wendy, you had wanted to add dates, so some I wasn't able to find dates for, or I just need to do a little more research. But anyway.
Well, I think it can be a living document.
Okay.
I think that's how a good way to look at it. It's part of our history and it's living. It kind of shows some of the things we've dealt with for people who are new to checking out Casa Conejo and where we've been. If we could please put it in date order, starting from newest with the formation of the MAC first, I think. That was kind of one of my preferences.
Well, this isn't organized in any way. This is just the last document that I put dates in and then added some. So it's, by all means, it's not organized. This is for you guys to discuss.
Okay, I would like to see it in chronological order. That would be a preference for me.
So I don't have dates on everything. Oh, what?
Well, yours are fine. It doesn't, it's not like it has to be day and month, but if, the 2010 stuff is there, the 2016 stuff is together, it just flows so that we get.
Is that looking weird on your screen?
Yes, Vinny's close it and reopen it.
Yeah, it does. It looks weird on mine too. Hold on, let me do it again.
That happens. That happens in a lot of different things.
So that was so weird. Hold on. I don't know why it's doing that.
It might want one page at a time.
No, it's my Word document. Hold on. It's like merging with other Word documents. That's so weird. And now it won't close. Hold on, I gotta close it all out because it's decided to.
Well, if we can help flesh out a few of these things, like for example, if Ed, if you could tell us when you guys initiated the graffiti removal intervention team, we could put that data and help chronologize things.
Yeah, I'd have to look back in all my records when we started it, but.
Yeah, this sounds like a
I'll
big
have to
ask.
get back to you with that one. It's been a while since I've been involved with.
Yeah.
When I started.
Yes, I think it definitely predates my start, which I think was around 2014 or thereabouts. We have the start of the beautification days in 2012. I would like to just add a simple comment that this is held annually in April. It started in 2012, but continues annually and usually in April. I don't know if you all feel it's needed or not. I'd like your input. Is who was on the first said of MAC and how the membership has changed of who has served on the MAC from various times? Just a start date, a year start date when the first council was, and people who have come in and out so that people know who the council members have been. I don't know whether you guys want that or not.
You're requesting to develop a list of all of the MAC members from start till now?
Yeah, actually put them in
Oh.
there. The initial council was so-so's, that group, and then the second, and then so-and-so left at some point and was replaced by whoever.
Well, it sounds like a great idea, but it sounds like an awful lot of work for Venice.
Oh, that's,
It might be, I'm just putting it out there. I'm not gonna pound it one way or another. I'm open. So I wanted your input of whether you thought that was something we should include or not.
I can do past members, but I think Scott's right. Adding like when they came in and when they came off is a little confusing. I can
Yeah.
do who's currently on it and what past members we've had. I
Okay,
do have that
That's good.
information.
There you go.
That'd be good.
that could work because I think it's nice to acknowledge the service of the people from the community in that way.
Yeah, I can do it that way. Just who's on it now and who's been a past member. And I can even put, I'm pretty sure I can put their dates in as well.
That'd be good.
So I think it's nice to, acknowledge all the people that have, put their time into it. And some of you, I think maybe Ed and Richard have been on the council since the beginning.
That's the beginning.
no,
Not Richard. Ed, maybe.
Ed may, yeah, no,
Then we can call him a founding member.
Founding council member.
Yeah, it was a grueling interview by Supervisor Parks just to get on the thing. Grueling.
I've known since,
We're up to the test and have given us such good service, Ed. I really appreciate that.
I think I've been on since 2014.
Okay, so then you were not too much before me then.
I don't know what I did with it. Okay.
I did have a comment that where it says that the MAC recommended that we keep 2 lanes on Wendy Drive. I would like to add that it was incorporated into the county's general plan.
That's good.
Oh.
Heck did I do?
That was a pretty big deal.
That was,
Big, 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 big deal.
18.
It was also used as an example for what they did in Ojai too. So you've helped other areas as a result of this.
Well, that's cool to know.
yeah, it was, yeah.
Are we talking about the 2 lanes staying as they are or something else?
Yes,
That's the one we're talking about, but
Oh, nice.
I
have
can-
showed that it was incorporated, county adopted it into the general plan, so it stays.
Yes,
I think that's important to note that we achieved that.
absolutely. That's a big deal.
Yeah, years ago, it had 2 lanes each way and that didn't work.
No.
I think what actually was adopted into the general plan was that it allowed for Wendy to have a lower level of service. Because if it were to receive a higher level, they do it by alphabet, and A being good and F means fail. They just said, even if you end up with too much congestion, we're not going to mitigate it by widening. So by saying we allow you to go to a lower level of service is another way of saying, and we won't have to come in and widen the road to 2 lanes on each direction.
Yep, that would eat houses and take away all the parking in the bike lane that
Right.
whenever we've tried to reduce parking to reduce speed, we got told by the homeowners, no. So
That's good.
So those are my comments.
Okay. Well, like you said, it could be it's a living document I'm working on. We can I'll organize this chronologically, and as we add dates and and Ed looks back in his many years of service and finds when we started if he can, if you can think of any dates, and then we'll just keep adding dates, and whatever doesn't have a date, I'll just put in kind of separately at the end, and we'll
That
just
sounds good to me.
keep adding and chipping away. And
I'll have to get back to her with that.
So I think we're good that it,
I
that's
started the computer removal.
point of view. I don't think we need to make a formal motion, do we?
I don't think so. No, I don't know. Then, I mean, we'll just keep working on it.
We discussed it, and that's kind of where it's going.
Okay,
Great. Thank you so much for putting that together, Venice. I know it's
sure.
been a significant hunt. Item D, next door posting of MAC information. Do you have?
Oh, this actually doesn't need necessarily a formal action, but Wendy, you had mentioned you wanted to specify who would be the next door poster because you didn't want it to fall between the cracks, kind of the way Ed used to put up the signs, and that was his job. So it was more of like, it doesn't need to be a formal motion, but just it was
like
something
people
you had
know.
asked for at the last meeting.
I think I was looking for someone on the council to volunteer to be the one who would
Yes.
make sure that on next door it goes. I sort of would like to nominate Scott because he's very good at notifying on next door. If Scott would like to take.
Well, I just walked back in the room. I didn't hear what I got nominated for.
That's what happens
I'll
when you
second
leave,
it. I'll
Scott.
second it.
What I'm volunteering you for is to be the member of the MAC council that makes sure that meeting notices, our 6 meetings a year, are posted on Nextdoor in a timely manner so that if the community wants to attend, they know when and where we are meeting. And
That sounds fine. I don't have a problem. I think that helps get the word out, and some people are paying attention to that. So, okay.
so I nominate you to be the MAC meeting poster.
You can just appoint him.
I'm wondering if we can keep this informal.
Yeah.
I think it's a good idea not to have an official representative of the MAC doing social media, but just him volunteering as a person, not necessarily a MAC member, to do that. That's great. I think that would avoid any potential conflicts of advocacy.
And I will volunteer my time and make sure that we get the agenda posted when it's out there for people on Nextdoor.
Nextdoor, that's the one.
Thank you.
Most of the notices, Venice usually handles sending to the Acorn. If it needs to go to the Acorn, that's been handled through that office. So thank you, Scott. I would appreciate that volunteer. So this way we don't have confusion of is anybody posting it, and that the community knows when we're meeting through something that maybe sometimes more people might read than anything else we have. Okay, I think that takes care of it.
Yes.
So thank you very much for taking that on, Scott.
Okay.
Next, information items, the 101 freeway expansion update, item 11A.
Scott, you said you have something on that.
It was basically about the fact that there was transition, and I think we still had this transition thing going there with the transit committee. And I think I'm going to refer this to Supervisor Parks because she probably has more information on this.
Yes, we have appointed a new transportation director, and he turns out to have been a member of our staff. So he is familiar with everything really that goes on in the Transportation Commission. So that makes it a little easier. I know we had some great candidates who are from a different county and all, but they would have more of a learning curve. And his name is Martin Erickson, very nice gentleman. And I'm sure he'd be delighted to, come and meet you all at some point, but I know that he will continue the trajectory of the Transportation Commission, which isn't, tremendously exciting, but
I think a question that maybe more than just me would have is, as the MAC sent them a letter, how might we remind them that we have a letter out there waiting for some sort of response?
do we have that, Venice? We have a letter that we asked them questions and we're waiting for a response on?
Oh, it was sent a while ago.
It was
yeah.
about a year ago, when we actually were meeting in person, perhaps. No,
Yeah.
I take it back. It wasn't.
I think you're right.
Yeah,
We'll
either way,
follow up.
we drafted a letter, it was approved, and we sent it to the Transportation Commission, and then they were in flux, so it pretty much didn't do anything but sit on a desk. So yeah, we should resend that.
They should have
Okay.
acknowledged the letter, so
They may have done that, yeah.
They
they may
did
have-
acknowledge, but I can resend it to, I'll resend it to Mr. Erickson.
Well, they did acknowledge, but you want Mr. Erickson to know what the concerns were that were raised. Is that it?
Yes,
Okay, because I don't think we got informed of a particular response. Yes, no, maybe so, or we'll think about it, or just thank you for sending a letter. So yeah, a little follow-up I think would be great. And then we can put it on our next agenda to see if we get anything back from Erickson or someone. that's-
Okay, and then we'll also get you what we did get back.
Great.
Mhm.
Anything else?
If there's no update, we won't add it.
Okay, but we'll have it as kind of one of those pending items so we don't lose track of it.
Okay.
Okay, next is a report from the Borchard Wetlands Ad Hoc Subcommittee.
hi, folks there. Well, big news. We had the first series of winter storms from December 23rd to December 30th. It brought about 6 3/4 inches of rain over the course of 7 days to Newbury Park and Thousand Oaks. Pretty much a regular winter storms system. That's kind of what it has. The south branch of the Arroyo Conejo transformed into the flood channel, and the Borchard Wetlands, as it always will, filled up. And by lunchtime on December 30, it was covered with water. And I have photos and video here of this round of storms here. I'm going to share first with you a video. I'm going to first see if I can get my share going here. Let me share screen, see if I got this, if I can get myself here. Yes, indeed. See if this is going to do it. Share. Okay, here we go. I have a video that someone provided. This is on the 24th. Notice the water just pouring in.
If you look closely, you can see the water is actually flowing on the property like a little river.
I'll just replay that again. This is on December 4th, Christmas Eve right here. We'll play that one more time there.
Lake Newberry is forming before our very eyes. If you look closely, you can see the water is actually flowing.
So that was on the 24th. That was sort of the beginning of the storm that we had there. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch us over to the Thursday. On Thursday, December 30th. This was the day that the storm was most all day long. What we're looking at right here is the south branch of the Arroyo Conejo as it crosses under Wendy Drive between Gerald Drive and Michael Drive. This is about lunchtime. And by my estimation, it's maybe a quarter full at this point here, maybe half at the most. But it's, as I say, it's just a regular rainstorm and nothing out of control here. So here is the Borchard Wetlands from about Alice looking towards the Borchard off-ramp sign. And this is once again around that same time filling up. This picture right here is showing the whole scope of the thing.
Scott, you're still on the video. The last, yeah.
All right, well, it should be, then hang on, let me go back, let me go share something else here, hang on then. Okay, go to share, stop sharing, come and share again. Try here.
Whatever the last photo you showed, the 2 photos didn't.
Okay.
There you go.
Did you see this one?
No.
You didn't see this one, okay, so I apologize. I'm not as sharp as getting these, knowing that what I'm showing is what you're seeing, so thank you for letting me know. So I'll start over. This is the south branch of the Arroyo Conejo as it crosses under Wendy Drive
Right.
between Gerald and
Gerald.
Michael Drive. Gerald and Michael. This is the bridge right there. This is at about lunchtime on Thursday, the 30th. This is now looking at from about Alice, looking towards the 101 and looking east essentially around that same time. And this is just the accumulation of a week's worth of rain here. I've got this picture looking across the whole thing to show the full scope of the thing right here on Thursday right here.
That's great.
Now, this is the interesting photograph. This is now we're at the flood channel at Borchard, at the Borchard off-ramp. I'm at the off-ramp there. This is where the south branch of the Arroyo Conejo then transitions under the 101 and goes to towards La Branca and on its way out of the Conejo. But you can see the amount of water flowing here. It's only about a quarter of the way filled up. This is just, you know, maybe half at the most. And this is just an average storm. Remember, this thing's got to hold a 100-year storm. And this isn't even a 10-year storm type of thing. And you can see that the wetlands are shaping up in the side of the picture right here. And I lastly have this picture from the Borchard off-ramp looking back towards our neighborhood over here. This is actually this is the 101 right here. So this gives you an idea. This is a full wetlands right here.
I can see the 101.
Yeah, so I'm gonna unshare. If I get this, come on, share, stop share. There we go.
Wow.
A lot of water, but certainly nothing big. We'll very likely have ourselves a one rainy day, one big storm system this year that's going to perhaps test the boundaries of that thing and really show it as the flood control channel that it is. I've been accumulating some other data. There's a handful of other stuff. There is a great website by the county's Public Works Department where you can monitor rainfall in real time. I had a great discussion with Glenn Shepard today on this particular thing. The Watershed Protection District has a very interactive map showing the different creeks, and it shows the rain collection spots, and it shows projections on floods. Quite a nice piece of work there. He's compiling information on this most recent storm, but it didn't tip the meter in any big way, as he said.
This meeting too.
Any questions?
Could you please put that website address in chat? And then we can copy it down or.
Okay, I will do that. I'm not sure that I've got it right in front of me here. The Watershed Protection District website is what I'm looking for. Maybe Venice can help me with that.
Okay.
The Watershed Protection District's homepage and what have you. I appreciate that.
Give me a second.
So there are 3 primary rain collection facilities, one at the Civic Center, there's one at the old fire station, and there's one rainfall gauge apparently near Borchard Park at Borchard and Old Conejo, or Reno, excuse me, that they utilize in their measuring things and help with their flood modeling.
Oh, because I've looked for some of the rain, the rain amounts, but they seem to be like TO Central. None of them really seem to be close to us in Newbury Park, because I'm sometimes just curious how much rain did we get? And I know it can vary quite widely, within a mile or two.
The fire station collector is a manually collected thing because of COVID. They've been shorthanded, and they haven't been able to facilitate that exact measurement from that storm. That's the information that's eventually available. But I use the closest one to us, the Civic Center, and that's a pretty good judge on a big rainstorm. But you're right; it could fluctuate, a little bit in either direction. The amount of rain.
I was just curious if they, really had one for here, because I look for it, and I don't know, maybe there's somebody that really keeps a good rain gauge and is a good little weather person in their own backyard.
I
But,
do.
sometimes it's just been a curiosity factor for me to see how much rain, and I do like to get out and walk during rainy times just to make sure things are okay. See where we're
Richard,
at.
Richard, did you say you'd have a rain gauge?
Yes, I measured a little over 9 inches.
Wow. That was 9 inches from when to when?
For the whole period that we're talking about.
That's that a week span of the big rains in the end of December.
Yeah, almost a back storms.
Okay. I want to also point out that on that exact day, December 30th, there was an extremely active cell that came very close to us. It actually hit Leo Carrillo State Beach Park and flooded the Arroyo Sequit and literally flooded the campsite, and 60 people had to be rescued. That storm 5 miles in another direction would have been right over us. But it wasn't even considered a super big cell, but it was enough to flood the Sequit and cause, like I said, 60 people to be rescued.
Okay.
We're just a winter storm away from a big problem.
Well, we'll see how it goes. It's supposed to be dry for a while, so we'll have to wait for my nature. Richard, did you have anything to add from the committee?
No, I took some pictures of all the rain and the flooding, and I think what Scott has is really amazing. It really shows a lot that it is the wetlands, and good. I just have to recommend. I have to commend you. It was a great job.
I see a hand raised. Beneath.
Do you know what year storm it was? Was it a less than 10-year event?
It was a less than 10-year event. As far as I know, there's, as I said, there's gonna gather the data for that for me when they're better staffed, is what he was essentially saying. So hopefully at the next meeting, I'll have a feel of what kind of storm that was, how much they had permitted. Although, as I said, the last day, and maybe I didn't say this, I did find this on the chart. The last day, the 30th Thursday, we had 4 inches in a 24-hour period. So that was as heavy as it got. And that isn't normally a lot of rain at all at one time, unless it was all at one time. So it was spread out.
And as I recall, that one photo that you have, I don't know if you can put it back up again, but it showed the channel.
I'll do it.
Yeah, and you realize also that it is a soft bottom channel. Where I live there, it's all cemented in, so it's kind of nice from an environmental perspective that it is a soft bottom. I was thinking about the other one actually, but
Okay, I can go back to that one.
kind of gives you an idea of the height of the water to the top of the bank. And as I understand from Denise, correct me if I'm wrong, in the neighborhood there, they're saying that the storm channel can handle up to a 50-year storm event, I think is what they were saying. So
Yeah. Oh, yes, Mr. Vargas.
so being that what you had here is probably somewhere closer to a 10-year, it kind of gives you an idea about what is possible, I guess.
Absolutely. And as I say, I'm searching for video and photographic evidence from the 9 storms that Watershed Protection District sent us that were big storms and ranked, 10-year, 20-year, 40-year type of thing. And there's a few of them in the last decade that we'll eventually find a little bit of evidence for and show us really what a full channel looks like.
Also, because you're doing this study, I don't know if you're familiar with a report that was done by a botanist, Dr. Magny, on this proposal of opening up the channel to make that a wetland, which is something that I think the Conservancy was looking at when they were considering back in the day of purchasing it. I can get you that study, I think.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Well, that could be a catch basin where they so it doesn't flood downstream. They could create a catch, what do they call catch basin where
Right, or a
it
dual.
saves the flooding downstream.
Mhm. Well, right now it is essentially a detention basin.
Yeah.
Okay, we have a question.
We have one hand, yeah. I've asked you to unmute, please. Sean, oh, there you are.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Thank you, Venice. Good evening, MAC members. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Couple questions in response to Mr. Horn's presentation. My first question is, they showed some photographs of water on the property. I'm curious, because correct me if I'm mistaken, you described it as the property basically becoming a lake and forming. Do you have any idea in those photographs how deep, Mr. Horn, the water is on our site? Is it feet? Is it inches? Any idea how much water was there?
There's a fence around the property. You already know that can't go on there and make a measurement.
No, just from your observation. Just, do you have any idea what do you think it is?
You tell us how deep it was.
I'm not gonna make a suggestion.
Okay. My second question then is, you say that by the water going on the property, it's showing that it's a wetland. So I want to be clear. Are you defining a wetland as simply rainwater ponding on a property makes it a wetland?
I'm not.
Don't answer it.
Well, when you're saying this shows it's a wetland, I'm curious, what do you mean by that after a rain with ponding water? Is that the standard?
I'm not the specialist in the standard. What I am saying is that it is a emergent wetlands, and it is emerging at that time. This is a great opportunity for all the fowl and fauna to come back to that spot and give itself life and to take root again. And I'm sure that there's a handful of native plants that have blown into that space and are prepared to grab onto the soil and to make it a wetlands the way it's originally was.
Okay. I don't know if exactly that was a pretty long answer. So you're saying that it has the potential to become one, but emerging wetlands, I don't know what that means. If you could explain what that means, please.
Go to the U.S. Wildlife Service website for that, and they'll give you emergent wetlands and how it is seasonal, and that's what we have, a seasonal wetlands.
Okay. Last question. Thank you. Is that the water that's on the property that you showed in those photographs with the unknown depths or quantities, do we know where that water came from? Did it come from the channel is what you're representing?
No, it didn't come all from the channel. It did its own sort of thing. It just materializes because it is a wetland. It's not like Borchard Park is going to be flooded for days like that place, because Borchard Park's not a wetlands.
But see, you're making these technical statements that I don't understand and the lay people don't understand. So
I think it's time for us to move on. He gave his report. He showed his pictures. He's just showing us what's happening. It's not about being technical and arguing.
I'm not arguing.
What happened in the neighborhood. So I believe because you're just trying to pick a fight, Venice, would you please, we're gonna go on. This is not going to be helpful.
Thank you.
So we got the graffiti report. Do we have any correspondence to go through? That's item 12.
I don't have any correspondence for you.
Okay, future agenda items. Does anybody on the council have anything you want to add to future agenda items?
Did Supervisor Parks mention that possibly we could get the new transportation director to talk to us about the expansion of the 101 freeway?
Right, yeah, that would be good.
Sure.
Would come and let us know where it's at, what the timing is, and that'd be good.
Yeah, and we eventually have somebody regarding trash, somebody from the trash section, folks. I think that's on our future.
They're very popular these days.
Yes, the trash hauling. Yeah, the trash hauling services. Yeah.
Yeah. I did get a nice chart from Athens today when I talked to the guy, that it's kind of helpful. I learned about some things going in places that I didn't realize that's how it worked. But it's an educational process. Catherine, did you have something?
Yes. would you have Newberry Disposal as well as Athens there?
Newberry Disposal is who would come to talk to us because they are the company that services us. So
Right. Well, I think that'd be a good idea.
I'm actually been invited to take a tour where the county is looking at putting in or approving a project for a major green waste composting facility out in Santa Paula. And there's all different kinds of, up-to-date technology for doing that kind of thing. And I've been invited for a tour out in Santa Barbara to see what they've got going. But yeah, like you say, you learn a lot about trash that you never thought you'd need to know or want to know, but it's more than just taking it from your
Get that tour accomplished. I think your Max would love to hear at least a little bit about it.
Yes.
The digest version, and you'll have more than that. Anything else?
I think that's it.
Ask for a motion to adjourn the meeting until I believe we were on March 16th.
Yes. Okay.
Hopefully in person.
Bye, everyone.
Motion to adjourn.
Be well.
Seconded. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
The best of all years, 22.
Thanks, everybody. Good night.
Good night.